Okay, now we've downloaded the Capture app, it's time to get everything set up ready for the big day. Now it's worth pointing out that for the first minute, 45 seconds maybe of this video, we will need an active internet connection, but thereafter everything that we do on the app can be done entirely offline. Begin by tapping into the app and you'll see a list of some of the forms that the app is being told to display. Now, one crucial point in the setup to note is that after you've followed all of the steps we're about to run through, if you're still not seeing the form that you want to use, it may well be that you don't have permission to view the form. So what we'd recommend doing is getting in touch with the builder of the form or an admin and asking them to come to the permissions tab, making sure that you have permission to view this form or a user group that you're in has permission to view the form. The first thing that we'd recommend you do when you first open the app is to go to the admin area, navigate to settings and tap the refresh forms and events option. What this does is sends a message to Gecko and says, hey, can I have the latest versions of all of the forms and give me all of the forms that I have permission to view. This puts you in a great spot and you can do everything else from this point forward entirely offline. Let's talk about how we can get the forms set up then. And it's worth pointing out that all of this is optional. If you want to skip straight to capturing data, you're in a good position to do so now. But we'll go through some really helpful tips to let you really streamline the forms for your users. Let's begin by going to the admin area and making sure you're on the forms section. Now here you'll see a list of every single form that your user has permission to view on the system. Any forms that are listed on that first opening page have a tick in the column. So if there's a form that you don't want to see there, just simply uncheck it. And as we come back to that first menu, you see that we've only got one selection here. Now, a really nice thing that you're able to do with the app is to set default values for certain fields. So let's do that for our university form right here. Now, this is the blank form itself, but let's imagine, for example, that we're doing a recruitment fair in India. So it's reasonable to assume that a lot of the students that we're going to speak to will be from India. As such, what we could do is we could pre-fill that nationality field. We could pre-fill the telephone dial code as well, so it's set up for most students, and it may well be that we even know additional information like which year of entry or cohort they're going to be part of. If I set these values and if we open up the form on that main page, we'll see that those pre-selected values are chosen. It's worth pointing out that students can change this if the information is different for them, but those are preset and they speed things up a little bit. A nice thing to note about these default values is that it'll only change how the form looks on your device, so you needn't worry about it affecting anyone else who might be using the form elsewhere. In addition to being able to set preset values, you can go to the settings page and tell Gecko which country you're in, which will do a lot of that default values for you. So it'll add the country in the address field. It'll automatically update the telephone field, much as we did just a moment ago, but for all of your forms that you use on your device. But you also have this option here, which is the ability to select a current event. And what this means is if there is an event built on Gecko for the fair that you're attending or a high school that you're visiting, you're able to tell Gecko this is exactly the event that we're attending. And it means then that any responses that come in from Gecko will automatically add the student whose details are captured into this event as attended, because we know that we met them there. A final setting that you may want to take note of is in the settings section under advanced settings. You have the ability to tell Gecko whether or not you automatically want to push any responses that you captured to Gecko immediately. This is useful if you have an if you have an internet connection or a good Wi-Fi connection, or you can tell Gecko, don't try to sync anything until I manually tell you to sync everything across all at once. Finally, useful to note is that you can contact support on the settings page if you run into any difficulties whatsoever.